In this video, we'll be taking a look at 2 college football games happening on December 27, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 4 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 2 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Virginia Tech versus Tulane. The upcoming clash at the Military Bowl in Annapolis, Maryland, will witness a face-off between the Virginia Tech Hokies from the Atlantic Coast Conference and the 23rd-ranked Tulane Green Wave from the American Athletic Conference. Despite being 6-6 for the season, the Hokies secured a crucial victory in their final game to qualify for the bowl. In contrast, the Green Wave, with an impressive 11-2 record, faced defeat in the American Athletic Conference Championship against SMU in their last outing. With a season record of 6-6, the Virginia Tech Hokies concluded their campaign tied for 4th in the Atlantic Coast Conference standings. Starting with a challenging 2-4 record, they rallied in the latter part, winning 4 of the last 6 games. Notable victories include overcoming Wake Forest, Syracuse, Boston College, and Virginia, while stumbling against NC State and Louisville. The Hokies' offense, averaging 28.6 points per game, features Kyron Drones, who threw for 1,993 yards, 15 touchdowns, and rushed for 642 yards and 4 touchdowns. Vachel Tutin contributed 727 rushing yards and 8 scores, with Daquan Felton adding 38 receptions for 667 yards and 8 touchdowns. Defensively, the Hokies allow an average of 24 points per game. On the other hand, the Tulane Green Wave, standing at 11-2, claimed a share of the top spot in the American Athletic Conference standings. Despite their impressive record, they suffered defeats to SMU in the American Athletic Conference Championship and Ole Miss earlier in the season. The Green Wave's offensive output is 27 points per game, led by Michael Pratt and Mackay Hughes, who rushed for 1,290 yards and 7 scores. Notably, their top 3 receivers will be absent for the upcoming clash. Defensively, Tulane yields an average of 19 points per game. While the Virginia Tech Hokies enter the contest with a 6-6 record, they are heavily favored against the depleted Tulane Green Wave. Tulane's roster has been severely impacted by transfers and opt-outs, including their head coach's departure to Houston, resulting in missing key offensive and defensive players. Notably absent will be the starting quarterback, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 6 starting defenders. Given the substantial roster challenges, expectations are pessimistic for Tulane in this matchup. In contrast, Virginia Tech appears relatively unscathed, with most of their roster intact. Despite their 6-6 record, the Hokies boast a formidable defense, ranking in the top 25 for total yards and 9th in passing yards allowed. The absence of key defenders for Tulane may allow the Hokies to exploit potential weaknesses in the Green Wave's defense. While the Virginia Tech offense faced struggles during the season, the depleted Tulane roster raises the possibility of defensive lapses, potentially leading to Hokie scores. The betting line reflects the significant advantage for the Hokies, as Tulane grapples with an extensive list of absent players. The Green Wave will play without their head coach, a crucial offensive lineman, top receivers, and quarterback Pratt. In contrast, the Hokies, aside from missing starting safeties, enter the game relatively healthy. The considerable gaps in Tulane's defense, with 3 defensive linemen and 2 defensive backs unavailable, create a challenging scenario for the Green Wave, particularly against a motivated Virginia Tech team aiming to finish the season on a high note. Despite Tulane's solid regular season, their performance in the conference championship game against SMU was lackluster. With key players absent, the Green Wave faces an uphill battle to end the season positively. Virginia Tech, after a slow start, finished strong and seeks to secure a winning season. The absence of quarterback Pratt in the Tulane lineup alleviates concerns for Virginia Tech, and the Hokies aim to capitalize on the opportunity against a depleted Green Wave defense. The drastic shift in the betting line is primarily attributed to Tulane's extensive player absences, including key contributors such as quarterback Michael Pratt, receiver Chris Brazo, and tight end Alex Bauman. Furthermore, the departure of coach Willie Fritz to Houston adds to the challenges facing facing the Green Wave. The disappointment of missing a New Year's Day Bowl invitation after the loss in the American Athletic Conference title game further dampens Tulane's motivation. Despite the substantial spread, it appears challenging for Tulane to stay competitive in the game, making the Virginia Tech Hokies to win and cover the spread as favorites our full game side pick. Tulane's roster challenges extend to the absence of two top receivers in the upcoming game. However, with Horton stepping in at quarterback, there is an opportunity to explore connections with backup receivers he is familiar with. While acknowledging the narrative of backups playing, the overall situation seems challenging for Tulane. On the other hand, Virginia Tech's offense, coming off a high-scoring performance against Virginia, is nearly at full strength. With an average of 29 points per game, the Hokies are expected to maintain offensive potency. Consequently, with the set total being conservative, over the projected total is our full game total pick. North Carolina versus West Virginia. The Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte is set to bring together the football teams of North Carolina and West Virginia this Wednesday. In the regular season, the Tar Heels, with an 8-4 straight-up record and a 6-6 against the spread record, navigated through conference play with a 4-4 record and secured the 6th position in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Conversely, the Mountaineers, boasting an 8-4 straight-up record and a 7-5 against the spread record, posted a 5-3 record against conference opponents and finished 5th in the Big 12. As the season unfolded, there was considerable speculation about North Carolina emerging as champions of the Atlantic Coast Conference. However, their aspirations were thwarted by defensive struggles, culminating in just 8 wins for the season. Heading into the Duke's Mayo Bowl, the Tar Heels find themselves on a 2-game losing streak, including a recent defeat against NC State. Concluding the regular season, North Carolina held an 8-4 record in the Atlantic Coast Conference standings, scoring only 20 points on offense while conceding 39 points on defense. The absence of Drake May, who has declared for the NFL draft, leaves Connor Harrell expected to start, facing the challenge of covering the team's vulnerabilities. While North Carolina may appear to lack motivation, West Virginia remains steadfast in their belief that they have much to play for. In their previous game against Baylor, the Mountaineers secured a victory with 34 points, capping off a 6-4 run over their first 10 games. Notable losses during this stretch were against Penn State, Houston, Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma. Garrett Green showcased a strong performance in the last game, completing 16 of 25 passes for 269 yards and 2 touchdowns. Throughout the season, West Virginia has averaged 32 points while their defense has allowed 27.5 points per game. A solid defensive performance could be the key to securing victory in this matchup. This bowl game presents a contrast between a highly motivated, overachieving West Virginia team and an unmotivated North Carolina team that has underachieved. The North Carolina Tar Heels roster has been significantly affected during the bowl season, with 7 players entering the transfer portal, 5 preparing for the NFL draft, and 5 players sidelined due to injuries. The absence of 10 regular starters, including quarterback Drake May and wide receiver Tez Walker, presents a considerable challenge for North Carolina. In contrast, West Virginia, while dealing with its own transfers and injuries, is not as impacted as the Tar Heels. The critical matchup in this game revolves around the Mountaineers' battle-tested rushing attack against a vulnerable North Carolina run defense. West Virginia, having faced the 19th toughest schedule in Football Bowl subdivision, ranks in the top 25 in rushing success rate and explosiveness. On the other hand, North Carolina's defense ranks 120th in stuff rate, conceding over 160 rush yards per game. Despite having an advantage on offense, North Carolina struggled to score more than 20 points in the final 2 games of the regular season, while their defense allowed an average of 38 points per game in the last 3 weeks. The history between these teams includes only 2 previous meetings, with the last encounter occurring exactly 17 years ago in the Mainet Car Care Bowl, which the Mountaineers won in a 31-30 thriller. The current state of losses and absences for the Tar Heels contrasts with the more favorable situation for the Mountaineers. Connor Harrell, making his first career start, faces a daunting task, especially without some of the team's top weapons. West Virginia has most of its starters available, and the lone common opponent, Pitt, saw West Virginia win 17-6 while North Carolina won 41-24, both games taking place in September. North Carolina ended the regular season with a 1-4 against the the spread record over the last 5 games, while West Virginia had a 3-2 against the spread mark in the same span. The absence of key players like May and Walker has shifted the Tar Heels from favorites to underdogs, giving the Mountaineers a significant advantage. With West Virginia's commitment to coach Neil Brown for another year, confidence is high that his team will perform well and capitalize on North Carolina's depleted roster. Anticipating West Virginia's strong rushing attack against North Carolina's weak run defense, the Mountaineers are poised to control the time of possession and apply pressure on the Tar Heels offense, led by backup quarterback Connor Harrell, expressing faith in West Virginia quarterback Garrett Green, who ranks 18th in Football Bowl subdivision, responsible for 16 points per game. The expectation is for West Virginia not only to secure a bowl season win, but also to cover the spread. The West Virginia Mountaineers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Throughout the season, the combined over/under record for these two teams stands at 14-9-1. Their games averaged a total of 68 points per game, with their defenses allowing a combined 55 points per game. The absence of one of the best quarterbacks, Drake May, presents a significant challenge for North Carolina. Despite the bold move of relying on a freshman quarterback for the bowl game, the Tar Heels have limited options. The game mirrors the challenges posed by the National Invitation Tournament and transfer issues, yet the competition perseveres. Foreseeing the Tar Heels emphasizing the ground game, particularly with Hampton still in the mix, West Virginia is expected to contribute their fair share of points. The Mountaineers' offense, nearly intact, contrasts with the depleted North Carolina defense. In the last 3 games of the season, the over went 2-1 in North Carolina's games and 3-0 in West Virginia's. Consequently, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.